Okay, we are live now. Okay, right now. Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm live right now. I'm going to share a little bit. Devi Ahru here again with a short sharing between what's the difference between self-reflection versus negative self-talk. I was with a client in the morning who had gone into a little depression as she has just started her business given the COVID time. It's really tough for her to redo a plan strategically and move forward. What is the plan B? So as she was having lots of sleepless nights, negative self-talk, of course, which was stopping her from thinking creatively, we had to do a RTT session to figure out why and what was causing her to have this negative self-talk. Even though in the session she was ready to change, she asked me a question: isn't self-talk a kind of reflection? So that made me to think and do a little bit research, and I had to do this video, a quick one. So here what I want to share with you guys is, so what is negative self-talk exactly? Basically, it is trash talking to yourself. If it's always good to consider the ways that we need to improve, but there's a difference between self-reflection and negative self-talk. Negative self-talk isn't constructive, and it rarely motivates us to make any changes, any creative changes. So I can't do anything right, versus I need to find ways to manage my time better. And sometimes it can start out small, like picking out little things that we don't like about ourselves. But if we don't know how to recognize and address, and prevent the negative talk, it can turn into anxiety, and in extreme cases, self-hatred. So here's how you can turn down the volume of your inner critic and just hop on to the train of self-love so that you can think creatively. So call it that it is. You have to be, first thing, be aware. We have tons of thoughts running through our minds every moment, and most of our thoughts happen without us fully acknowledging them before we can move to the next one. So if you're unsure or you need some convincing that you struggle with negative self-talk, try jotting down the negative things you say to yourself throughout the day. As it happens, it might seem extreme, but in order to get rid of negative self-talk, you have to be aware what you are saying to yourself sometimes. And the second thing is, you name the critic. Some psychotherapists, psychologists, therapists recommend naming your critic, giving the inner voice a funny name. Can you please see, like, what is it real? It stops us from looking at ourselves as a problem, and it makes the real problem clearer. So we keep believing what the voice says. So the next time the negative self-talk creeps up, you don't just shrug it off as another anxious thought. Call out, like the name. This is my Felicia. This is my perfectionist. This is my negative Devi talking to me. And what's more, if you are aware and checking it, you can stop it at the tracks. The third thing is, put it into perspective. Negative self-talk stems from downward spiral we let our thoughts go into. So stumbling over your own words in an interview, I'm such an idiot, I'll never get the job. But putting these negative thoughts in perspective can help us figure out what really went wrong. Usually, the problem is actually quite solvable, but we just need to break it down and process it slowly. Talk it out. Sometimes talking to a friend can help us overcome negative self-talk in the moment. The next time you are like embarrassed or something didn't go your way that you wanted, call someone. Talk it out. Shame and guilt grow in secret. Don't live alone with your thoughts. You have to share it, okay? Next thing is, think possibly. Sometimes the worst thing we can do when we're thinking negatively is to force ourselves to say nice and positive things to ourselves. Instead, start by saying neutral things, okay? Instead of saying, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I didn't do well, you can say, I didn't do well in that project yet, or but I can do it better the next time. We don't have to lie about to ourselves, but we can be realistic without self-hate. Okay, now next thing is prevent. Keep it from coming back. Be your own best friend. Would you ever call your best friend and tell her that she's a loser, a failure, an idiot? No. So why is it so good to us? So one way to beat our inner critic is to become our own best friend. Choose to focus more on your positive characteristics. We need to celebrate the little wins, the smart things we do, and the goals we achieve. And more importantly, we need to remember them so that the next time the negative Nancy tries to criticize you, we have proof for why she's wrong. Be the bigger person. When we place unrealistic expectations on ourselves, we open the door for negative self-talk. The reality, we can't do everything right now. It's COVID time and there's no such thing as a perfect person. So there is a saying, the psychologist has said, when we have a goal for ourselves and our lives that is bigger than being good, we become bigger than the critic. So whenever the goal we choose is being more peaceful or just being a work in progress, when we redefine what a good life and good outcomes look like, we make it possible to find joy and contentment outside of being perfect. So thank you for watching. Hope this gives someone somewhere some insight on self-reflection and negative self-talk. Okay, see you on the next video. Bye.